I don't know who won the giveaway the other day, but remember these? Yeah, so this is the camera I'm using on my live if you want to check out the clear, crisp quality. I can't even talk today. Hey Dominic, what's going on? So yeah, I'll put one of these over here in case you want to buy one. You can buy one. So check it out, okay? All right, so welcome to, the live show. Connie, can you plug in my computer? I forgot to do that. So I don't want my computer to die. All right, it's over there. You can go behind. Okay, so back to the program. Let me just restart the audio so Ian has a clean file. But again, today we're talking about when to say no to clients, okay? So that is the topic for today. And it's really about how to turn down clients that are unqualified. So first you have to do a really good job at qualifying your clients to begin with. But this is a really, really, really important topic and one that I absolutely actually love talking about. So if you've ever accepted a client who you didn't think was a good fit, it's probably because you were a little too desperate to get a new client, or you were probably just a little scared to say no and turn them down. And you probably question yourself whether you made the right choice or not. And I know I've wondered a lot about this, and I'm sure others have too, especially if you are in a service-based business like all of you. And each person listening, I know you have your accounting firm, you're trying to grow your accounting firms, you're really trying to bring on the clients that you love instead of always taking on these clients that a lot of you have taught me about this word called PITA. And what that stands for is a pain in the ass. And when you have a PITA client, it's not good for anybody. It's not good for you. It's not good for your staff. If you have a staff, it's typically not good for your sanity. It's not good for your happiness. There's a lot of reasons why it's not that good. So in this episode today on the Abundant Accountant Podcast, I will explain the most common and easy ways to turn down an unqualified client, and in a way that won't burn any bridges and will help both of you in the long run. So again, if you're in a service-based business like you are right now with your accounting firm and you sell services, then this is really, really important because one bad apple can really ruin it for, yourself and your sanity. So that is what we are talking about today. And if you have questions, you can put them in the comments below. So Ian, you can cut this part out of the audio. But again, if you have questions, just put them down below. And if you were thinking that I was talking about pita bread, then that means maybe you're just a little bit on the hungry side. So, something I like to say, a little bit of some pitch queen advice, is if someone is not a good fit for you or your business, you may really just need to let them go. And it's almost like the opposite of being professionally annoying. You're being like a professional rejecter in a way. And and this will not decrease your sales. It will actually increase your value and increase your revenue. I know it's hard to grasp right now, but just hear me out and listen closely and take notes today because it will pay off quite a bit. And I will be giving some examples with there is someone who I know is listening right now, Iris, and we're going to use your clients as examples for today. But the first step is to know when to say no. So you might be wondering, when do I say no to a client? When is it really a time where I should maybe let them go? Right? It's how do you decipher when? That's a really great question. Here are some ways to think about when to say no. If your client is hesitant or really not all in with you from the beginning, that is a good indication that it's probably not going to be a good fit. If your client is really not that motivated to achieve results, they say they want results, but they're not willing to do the work, meaning they're not willing to give you tax returns in time. They're not willing to respond to a text message or a phone call in time. They're not willing to respond to an email in a timely fashion. Anything that determines the motivation factor of working with you to achieve their results, not for you. This isn't going to help you in the long run, right? Well, it will. It'll help you, your top line revenue, but us helping our clients, especially as accountants, it's in the interest of your clients. It's all about them. Maybe they want something too tailored and it's outside of your comfort zone. I'll give you an example of what that looks like. Luke, one of the CPAs who I've worked with, will only take on clients who are willing to, number one, use QuickBooks Online for their monthly services and business and how they operate. Number two, he will only work with clients that want to, or that will work with him on video. So he doesn't meet with anybody in person one-on-one. And number three, he only works with clients that will engage with him in a monthly service. So Luke is not looking to work with people who want a one-time type option, right? Like they need just a tax return done or some sort of compliance work or whatever it may be. He's really looking for the monthly residual clients. So if someone doesn't fit some of those, what I call boundaries, then he gracefully lets them go or he refers them out. Another indicator of when it's time to say no is if a client wants too many discounts. They're already starting to talk to you about how they want to pay less, how they're looking for a deal, whatever it may be. When people start talking to me about that kind of stuff from the beginning, it's a great opportunity at that point to just let them go gracefully. Don't even waste your time. I've already wasted enough time for each of you listening today that I can promise you nothing's ever going to change. If someone starts talking about discounting rates, getting a better deal, or anything like that from the get-go, it's typically not going to shift. They're not going to say, oh, well, yeah, I completely see your value. Like they're stuck in a certain mindset that probably won't work for you. Another way that you might not, when you might know when it's time to say no is that you believe that the two of you just aren't a good fit. I know each of you likes really happy clients or you love clients that have families and kiddos and you like to get to know their personal life. Well, sometimes you might have a client that's not willing to go there with you. So if that's that person, it's best if you just let them go right away. If you personally think that you're not going to be a good fit from the beginning, on a personal level. The other reason why it might be good to say no to a client is if you're overcommitted to yourself. You're too busy. You've taken on too much work. You've said yes to so many clients that now you're not even able to truly engage with your clients and that you've taken on too much and now you're too busy. So that is the first step. It's really about knowing when to say no. I'm going to share another little story. Again, it's about Iris and we were actually working together with this client. And this client, owned a trucking company and he would be in his truck going from East Coast to West Coast and West Coast to East Coast. And he's been a long-term client of Iris's. But he really wanted to create a better accounting system in his business. He wanted to create a way to reduce the amount of taxes he was sending to Uncle Sam. And he really wanted to create some efficiencies in the business. Well, one of the things that Iris learned during this period of time is that the client wasn't really that receptive. She was chasing him, calling, emailing, no response. It was almost as if it was like that second thing I mentioned earlier. The client really wasn't motivated enough to achieve the results that he was saying he wanted. And I always say actions speak louder than words. And I understand how hard it is to let go of people, but I also know the flip side and that you can generate so much more revenue and actually love the clients that you work with. So what Iris had to do was send them an email saying, it's just not going to be a good fit to work together. But just like these ideas I'm telling you of knowing when to say no, it's really powerful. And I'm here to help save you time so you don't have to test it out anymore. I've already done all the testing for you. So try one or two of those out and you can send me an email to let me know how they went. I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at hello@thepitchqueen.com. So that's HELLO. And let me know what you try and what works. Step number 2 in this process is know how to say no. So there's always a graceful way to do things, and then there's always a non so graceful way. So one of the ways is, how to say no is you just can't let it drag on for too long. I would say even with the situation with Iris, it dragged on a little too long. And she tried so hard, and I know that each of you truly wants to help all of your clients. I get it. But it's like that saying, you can't, you can bring the horse to the water, right? But you can't make the horse drink the water. And it's the same thing with our clients. If they're not going to see the value in creating an efficient system and using QuickBooks Online and saving more money in taxes, it's up to that client. He's got 2 months to make some big changes in his business. And if he doesn't, he'll just pay the penalty of paying $100,000 in taxes next year. And that's totally fine. But we can't be upset if our clients don't respond to us. There's nothing we can do. So what I encourage each of you to do is think about which clients on your client roster or even on your outreach of new marketing that you've been doing have been dragging it on. Like which ones are just taking forever to get back to you. Those are the ones you just want to cut the cord and say no to as soon as possible. And I always go by the rule of thumb, always being transparent. So tell them why you won't be a good fit. What do you feel deep down in your heart that you're just, this just isn't going to be a good fit? I always say honesty is the key. Honesty will get you so much further than just making up stories. And I know each of you doesn't really make up stories, but when we get busy and we have a pile of returns to do or payroll or the monthly accounting stuff, or, maybe you're doing some tax resolution work, whatever it is, we get so busy, it's hard to be transparent. But being transparent will increase revenue a lot and will get you a lot of really great referrals too. So one of the things when knowing how to say no is definitely referring out. So introducing them to someone else who may be a better fit. With the case with Iris and the trucking company, I think she put in 2 referrals that would have been a better fit. Whenever this guy surfaced, he's going to realize in about 2 months that the year is now over, or depending on when you're listening to this, in 2 months, the year is over. And there's a certain time frame when sometimes things need to happen, as each of you knows. There's quarterly deadlines and there's other tax implications, right? But what Iris did was input 2 referrals in her email to the client so that they can, have someone to contact. Because one of the things after you say no to a client, you really have to stick to your word, to yourself. You can't change your mind. It just won't work. It won't work for you and it won't work for your client. So always introduce them to someone who may be a better fit, who might be taking on kind of that lower value work per se, or who's okay with dealing with people who don't email them back, who don't respond to their text messages on time, or whatever it may be. There's a gamut of reasons that resonate with you, and you just have to choose, a few that you can be transparent with to communicate to your clients. And the most important thing is never to burn a bridge. This client might be a good fit for Iris later. When the trucker keeps driving back to California to Florida, and he continues to pay an abundance in tax, there might be a day he has a wake-up call. And he says, you know what? I should really work with Iris. I made a mistake. And this actually personally just happened to me today. There was a woman who was going to join a program, and it just, she said she couldn't afford the monthly fees, and it wasn't really affordable. And now she's realized about 2 or 3 months later that the case has actually changed, and that it's actually going to cost her more to not do this, because if she doesn't change the way she operates her business, she's going to continue to be a little bit tired, miserable, or whatever it is for her. I don't really remember the exact reasons. But you never want to burn a bridge, because people do come back. And I believe timing is everything. Timing in business is everything. Timing in relationships is everything. And timing with how and when to say no to a client is extremely crucial and important. So keep that in mind, all right? Step number 3, know why, right? There's always a why behind it. So why do you need to say no? A few reasons on why you might want to say no to a client. So if you want to look at your client roster and your client list, you can go through it and say, who don't and won't see my true value? Or who on my current client list doesn't see my true value right now? Right? Like, they don't see it now and they never will in the future. Well, why don't we just let them go? It's just not worth it at the end of the day to keep them around. It also, by doing this, for each of you, it opens up space for clients that truly appreciate you and honor and respect you for what you do. So that's another reason why saying no is a good thing. I always say why and when and how to say no is so important because it opens up opportunities for the clients that you truly want to say yes to you. Make sense? So we're also clearing space. When we clear space, so let's say you have 100 clients, right? And you go through this exercise and you understand that there's 10 clients that don't see your true value today. And you send them a letter saying, unfortunately going forward, I don't think we're going to be a good fit to work together. You've now created space for the possibility of maybe 5 new clients that, really see your true value and even maybe pay you a little bit more. So it's almost like, have you ever cleaned out your closet? I just recently personally did that. I cleaned out my closet and I made space. When you make space, it creates clearing and other, I was just reading this book about Deepak Chopra's 7 laws of spirituality or laws of attraction. I can't really remember the name of the book. But it was so good because one of them was about this clearing part. And when we clear space, we can attract and bring in more clients that we truly want to work with and that we love. Another reason why it's a good idea to say no sometimes, guess why? You could get a bad apple. And a bad apple is like the PITA client, right? Like the PITA client, the pain in the ass client. And it causes you stress. It causes you to waste maybe time. It causes you anger. And all of that, the stress and the extra time and the anger translates into your other clients. Well, that's not fair. That's not fair for your other, let's say there's 10 clients on your client roster and they're all PITAs. It's not fair for your other 90 clients, if you have 100, that those 10 actually take up more energy than giving the good energy to the 90. So when we let go, or in this reason why we're going to say no to some of your clients, and Iris, who I know you're listening and who we've been sharing her stories, you feel so much better. And your future clients and your next new ones will sense your value and worth at a greater level, and that when you stick to these types of boundaries of what you won't tolerate anymore, it creates space for really, really, really amazing clients. And who really wants to deal with a PITA client anyway? Do you want to call them PITA clients or PITA clients? I don't know. I like pita bread. One of my favorite snacks is hummus and pita, or hummus and pita and veggies. It's very delicious, actually. So I like to think of it from a food form. And I want you to think about one other thing. So these are a couple extra tips. When we're dealing with consultations, right? And you're talking to a brand new client, think about if you use the word if, not when we work together, because when you're talking to a new client, you're thinking about, are they a good fit? Do I want to keep them around, or do I want to send them on their merry way? Just as much as they're thinking if they want you to work with them, right? So what if you say, if we are to work together, or if I feel you're a good fit to work with me, my staff, and my firm? What if you just start incorporating the word if on your brand new clients? So it's not like maybe what you used to do, where you used to take on any and all clients and you used to give away a lot of free advice and answer everyone's questions in these client meetings. What if we just said, if we were to work together, and don't really let that person assume that you're going to accept to work with everybody anymore. And really that's if you work with everybody and you come across as you're going to work with any client that comes your way, that sits in front of you at your desk, it actually lowers your value. And part of everything here at the Abundant Accountant podcast, right, is about creating that life of abundance. How can we increase our value so our clients see that, we not only do we know our stuff, I know a lot of you have MBAs, masters in tax, you're a CPA, you're an EA, you're so educated, but our clients don't value us. And this is one of the ways that you can implement right now to start gaining that value and really having your clients see it for them too. One other amazing extra tip I have for you is decline with gratitude. Thank them for, something special that you see in them. I like with the trucker, he's got an amazing business, right? So an example of what you could say with Iris's client, the trucker, it's been an honor to help and serve you for the last 10 years. And I've been so grateful to have the opportunity to work with you. But right now, I'm making a shift in my business. And one of the shifts is that I'm really only working with clients who really see my value and are trusting what I have to say and will call me back, email me back, and really want to actively change these challenges that you're having in your business to create more efficiencies and to save this money that I know I can save you. But like that saying, it takes two to tango. Well, so in business, right? There's a give and take in business. There's two parts. You can't do, in any of your accounting services, you can't complete a tax return if the client doesn't provide you their W-2s and everything else, right? Especially on the business side. You can't do anything for the business if their QuickBooks a mess and they haven't organized anything. Like, it takes literally two to tango in all of your services. So if at any point you don't feel that you're tangoing with your partner, which is your client, then you've got a problem and it's time to decline with gratitude. And that's an example of how I would gracefully decline and what Iris did do. And now this client will be in better hands, hopefully in the future, just get what they need. And then they'll come back in a year or two when they find out that, wow, I really missed the boat. And I see that Iris has a lot of value and a lot of knowledge that, some other people just don't have. So keep that in mind. And the last tip, and each of you I know is super smart, like I said, accounting, MBAs, CPAs, tax, some of you are tax attorneys even. Position yourself as the expert. Remind yourself that the potential client sitting in front of you, doesn't really know a whole lot of what you do. Maybe a whole lot of how you're different. So it's really your job to position yourself as the expert and also explain to them why you do what you do, why you're the best, and really incorporate that in there. But again, when you're sitting with new clients, remember to use the ifs, right? If we work together, if I feel you're a good fit, if I feel that my firm can really take you and your business on once I go through the analysis and make sure that we are able to deliver on our promise and that you're truly believing that this would be the best fit for you, that's when you want to do that. So I say look at your client roster today, go through it, see which ones are clients that maybe, you need to sift through and decline gracefully so we can open up the opportunity on how to attract these newer clients. And then we also have some standards and boundaries in place. So, again, evaluate every single client that you currently have and also evaluate every potential client that you're going to be meeting with. And do you really feel that these people are going to be a good fit for you? And have, there was another client I was talking to this morning, actually, Lauren. And, for Lauren, she's now working with clients who pay her up front. And a lot of clients don't want to pay her up front. Well, if you're going to have clients paying you in the rears, you know what? That's a great time to let some people go. You know, if you're changing your model where you don't want to have any more accounts receivable and chase money and deal with all that nonsense so you can focus on providing and delivering an immaculate, perfect, awesome service, you can change your business model. But you're going to have a lot of people that you need to shift from paying after the fact to prepaying for a service. But it's actually better for the client and you. So again, just go through your client roster today. See what you can organize. You do have to set aside the time to actually do it. But when you get new clients, you're going to have a different aura around you. And when we have a different aura, we're able to attract the clients that we want and really have that firm of abundance. So, thank you so much for listening and joining me today on the Abundant Accountant Podcast. It was an honor to be here with you, and have an amazing day. All right, you guys, do you have any questions? Anyone here? I didn't see any questions. Oops, I can't touch my phone either. Oh, here we go. I'll wave at you. So if you guys are on Instagram or Facebook, I will answer questions. Oh,